how's it going out there? Facebook, YouTube, Gunstream, and the rest of YouTube North America. The Gun Psychiatrist here with another gun how-to. Tonight I want to focus on how to actually manufacture, create, and develop your very own 50 caliber, 12 gauge shotgun shell. The components we'll be using are going to be the Ballistics Products RSS-12 Sabo, the Rio Ultra High Brass 12 gauge 2 3/4 inch shotgun hull from Ballistics Products, which I believe, by the way, is discontinued. We're going to be using the Hornady 50 caliber XTP hollow point 350 grain projectile, and of course the Ballistics Products, I believe it's called the Flexio gas wad. Yes, and we are going to actually craft a shotgun shell out of these components. But the one unique thing I wanted to show you in this video is how to do roll crimps on shotgun shells. Really, really cool, and it's extremely fun. Now, as a disclaimer, I have yet to test these loads at the range on my chronograph. So, once I get to the range and test these rounds, and I get my shot strings developed as to the most accurate load with the various powder settings that I'm using. I'm also using some overshot cards, and I'm using some without overshot cards. So once I get that load data down, I get my shot string saved, I will actually have this information available on the Roll Your Own section on thegunside.com. That's thegunpsy.com. And you'll be able to actually take the best load and most accurate load out for your next hunt or next trip to the range. Alright, so now that we're ready to load, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and set my shell on this scale, tear it, and of course in most scales you're going to have a little circle that pops up in there that tells you that the weight of the shell has been loaded and the tear that you just set is accurate. So I'm going to take my scooper, and the powder I'm using tonight is Pro Reach, and I'm going to add 32.4 grains of Pro Reach powder. So I'm just going to continue to add this. Don't ask me why I find this very therapeutic, but, well, we went over a little bit, so no big deal. We're at 34.8 right now. So what we'll do is we'll chop a little bit out, set it back on the scale, and then continue to top it off till we get to our target number. Now this can be a little bit finicky, dumping the right amount of powder out and getting it just right. Coming up to 30. We want to get to 32.4. Now we're at 31.4. So we just need a couple little speckles of powder in here. 31.6. 32. 32 still. 32.6. So I'm going to go ahead and dump just about a grain out. .4, there we are. So now that I have the powder measured, I like to line up what's going to go into the wad column in order of importance. Show you what I mean. So here we have the Flexio gas wad, we have the RSS-12 Sabo, we have the bullet, and of course we have an overshot card. So the first thing I'll do is I'll go ahead and set this Flexio gas wad so you can see it. I'll set that into the hole and give it firm seating pressure. Alright. I'm going to take my Ballistics Products RSS-12 gas seal, and I'm going to actually pry the arms out on it. And don't be afraid if you hear them click or you think they're almost about to fall off or break. We want it to look like this when it's done. The reason why is, let me actually readjust my camera here. The reason why is when this flies out of the shell, as we compress it in, it's going to hug that bullet. And then as it's, the powder's ignited and it flies out of that, we want these arms to freely spread open so the bullet launches. It is not held in place by this sabot round. So I go ahead and push it down on the table, make sure they're all nice and flat. Set the bullet on it like that. Hold the shell with your index finger. Press straight down. Okay? And that is what you're going to be left with. Kind of brighten her up here so you can see that. That's what you're going to be left with. That's going to be about where it's going to sit. Now, once I have that done, I'm going to take the overshot card, and I have this labeled 32.4 for testing purposes till I get the right load. 32.4 is the charge, or the amount of charge of powder that I actually put in here. Again, that powder was Pro Reach, 32.4 grains of Pro Reach powder. So I'm going to make sure that's firmly seated, and then that's that. And then I'll go ahead and now, the other rounds I'm doing are these Hornady XTP ballistic tip rounds that are actually, these are 300 grain rounds. So instead of doing an overshot card on these, I already have some with an overshot card. I'm going to replicate the load without the overshot card because I'm just experimenting right now. So the next thing we want to do is Ballistics Products sells roll crimping devices, which they essentially look like this. Try to brighten that up so you can see it. So basically there's a little cotter pin right in the top here that helps kind of heat up the case and, heat up the hull, and then it folds over in this center portion. This is pretty much accomplished with any basic, household drill. You can do these on a drill press. I've just found using a hand drill is a little bit more desirable because you can actually feel your roll crimps taking place, which, if you're not careful, you can really booger up the plastic if you're not careful. So to perform a roll crimp, some people use a shell holder, whatever. I just use my fingers and hold the shells by the base, but it's basically what we're looking at here. So let me actually brighten this up some. There we go. Roll crimp. There you go. That's what it should look like. Nice and pretty. The cool thing about this is it puts a nice little taper, which will assist in feeding if you're shooting through a semi-automatic shotgun. But the Ballistics Products roll crimper works great. It's super easy. You'll think it's almost there, and then you just go a little bit further, and you're ready to go. So we'll go ahead and roll crimp the rest of these. Another thing, I'm just going to state this real quick. Don't full powder your drill on these. You're going to mess up the holes. You only need to run it probably about half power after this device gets hot, which after your first shell, this thing's going to be plenty hot. So give a watch. Alright, so, the hotter this thing gets, and it is going to get to where you can't even put your finger on it because it gets super hot. You got to remember, this is very thin plastic. So it's best advised to just go slow, and the hotter this thing gets, the slower your drill needs to run. And that is the best advice I can give to giving a pretty roll crimp. Just take your time. You know, and sometimes your roll might not come out very perfect. Set it to the side and come back and hit it later. You simply just let this cool off and then come back and fix the roll crimp. You see this one came out real nice. This one's got a little fugly. That's all right. We'll come back to it and make it look pretty. There you are. That's how you roll crimp a 12 gauge shotgun shell. Here's the cool thing about roll crimping. You can literally roll crimp any type of shotgun shell with a shot combination. Slugs, they take roll crimps no matter what. You want to do buckshot, bismuth shot, turkey, this new hype that's hitting the gun industry with the tungsten rounds. You can roll crimp a lot of these rounds. It's always best to consult adequate load data before you do this, because even though it's a shotgun shells can be forgiving when it comes down to reloading. They can still be dangerous and they can still kill you if you do reload these improperly. So my best advice is consult a either seasoned reloader or one of the reloading books. You can also consult the Gunsci, psy.com, short for the gun psychiatrist, where I have published lots of loading data. Now, right now, the lists are a little low, but I have so many Excel sheets that I got to transfer to PDF and put up on the website. So if it's not there now, it'll be back later. If not, you can always send me a request at Kevin@thegunsci, PSY, Kevin@thegunsci.com, and I'll get you the specific load data you're looking for. Hey, thanks for watching, everybody, and I hope this was informative and you now can do your own roll crimps at home.